like, yeah, I heard it. Should be a superhero with supersonic hearing. Hey everyone, it's Olivia and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. As I mentioned, I'm Olivia, I'm 26 years old and I was diagnosed with autism at 24 years old. And now I like to make YouTube videos trying to bring awareness to females like me on the spectrum, especially so younger and younger girls can get diagnosed earlier in life so they don't have to go through the struggles and challenges and traumas that me and so many other women had to go through growing up unknowingly autistic. If these topics are something that interests you, make sure to like and subscribe below, and you can even join the Wired Differently crew, which you get some special perks that other people won't get. So it's April, and April is Autism Acceptance Month, so happy Autism Acceptance Month, everybody. I thought for a video today that I would do it on a happy topic, and I thought I would talk about autistic traits that I have that I actually like and that actually make my life better. You know, so often autism is talked about as a negative thing and all of the challenges and struggles and hardships that come along with having it. And don't get me wrong, autism can super suck sometimes and it absolutely can make our lives more difficult and just make it more exhausting for us to live an everyday life. So don't get me wrong there. But there's also a side of autism that can be really awesome, and no one ever talks about that. So today I thought I would talk about some autism traits that I have that I really like and that, you know, I think are special and I would hate to not have them anymore. So I thought I would just try to flip the head on autism for this Autism Acceptance Month and do a topic that is painting autism in a good light. So I'm going to be talking about 7 autistic traits that I have that I actually really like having. But before I jump into trait number 1, I'd like to share with you guys that I'm partnering with an app called Yours app, and I'm really excited to share this with you guys. What this app is basically like a self-care app. So what the app is comprised of is short little videos about a wide variety of topics. There's videos about psychology, and there's like videos to learn how your brain works, which is super interesting. There's yoga videos, like hundreds of hours of yoga videos talking about how to do yoga to relax and unwind from your day. And there's even stories that you can listen to about different things that can help you go to sleep at night. If you'd be interested in checking out this app, which I do highly recommend, it's really fun and there's just so much to do on it, then use the link below or use the coupon Olivia for 60% off the yearly subscription. Now jumping into the video, trait number 1 that I really love is my ability to hyper focus. And this is by far my favorite trait. It is something that has helped me tremendously in life in really all aspects, but specifically like learning and being able to do work and whatnot. What hyper focus is well, what it sounds like, your ability to hyper focus on something. And so this has been great, like when trying to learn a new skill, because if I get interested in something and I want to learn something new, which I love learning, say a few years back, I wanted to learn how to build furniture and do woodworking. And so I was able to hyper focus and learn so much about woodworking, and I was able to build all of the furniture in my apartment in somewhat of a short amount of time because of my ability to just zone in on it and just learn everything there was to know about the topic. Besides allowing me to learn things very quickly and easily on my own, it also allows me to be very productive in whatever I'm doing. Like right now, we're redoing the backyard at my house, mostly because we're hosting Easter, and you know, mom needs the house looking immaculate. So I've been out out like literally like hoeing and digging holes. I mean, I'll have to show a picture because it's turned out really cool, but I've been out like 24/7 almost, to the point where I messed my hands up because they got like really swollen because I guess I overused them. But my brain has been super hyper focused on turning the backyard into something beautiful, and I don't want to stop doing it. So this has actually allowed my parents to get a move on with them too, because I've been like pushing them like, hey, like let's do this, let's do that. And so it's just allowed me to be super productive in getting the backyard done in a short amount of time. I was able to do this when I worked at the NFL Network as well, hyper focusing on whatever task I was doing. It allows me to do that in my businesses as well. So again, it just allows me to learn things quickly on my own and allows me to hyper focus, which I think is absolutely a gift and something that has been very helpful throughout my entire life. Trait number 2 that I really like is my honesty and my ability to not really get embarrassed about things. I'm not sure if that's really a trait, but a lot of times autistic people can be very honest and blunt and just very open, and we overshare a lot of times. And I'm sure some people view this as a negative that like know me. They're like, wow, I'd wish you wouldn't be so honest and open about your issues and whatnot. But I view it as a good thing because it, one, allows me to just not feel much embarrassment about things, because I'm just like, oh, well, to my brain it's perfectly normal to talk about these things, so I don't get embarrassed easily. And then the really the main thing that my honesty and ability to not get embarrassed and talk about things is that it's allowed me to share with you guys and so many people about my challenges and what I face in hopes to actually help people. And I know these videos are helping people, at least that's what people tell me, which is such an honor and so cool. And so if I didn't have that, you know, autistic trait of being able to be really honest and open about things and not embarrassed about things, then I maybe wouldn't be here, and I maybe wouldn't have helped a lot of people, you know, figure themselves out just like I figured myself out from watching other people's YouTube videos. So I really think that's a great one for that reason, and just overall to be able to be honest with people. Again, some people I'm sure are like, wow, we wish you weren't honest, and we wish you'd just lie and be a little nicer like a regular person. But to me, it's a good thing. Trait number 3 that I really like is my big imagination. And it's a very common misconception that autistic people lack an imagination. And of course, everybody on the spectrum is different. So of course, I'm sure there's people on the spectrum that don't have a big imagination, but I know from so many people that I've met through YouTube and everywhere else that we have really big imaginations. And I absolutely love having a big imagination. This has absolutely allowed me to succeed in what I've done with my life, specifically as a writer. It's given me a fantastic ability to create stories and write books that I've come up in my head, because I'm constantly just living kind of in an imagination world, in my own little world that I've made up. So this has allowed me to be a very strong writer and be able to be very descriptive and just great in how I tell a story and bring the story to life. It's also allowed me to be very creative with my cookie dough business, and you know, how I take pictures and how I create different flavors and the website and the graphics. So having a big imagination has really helped me, one, just, you know, on a personal level, be like really cool and happy and think of all these imaginations, and you know, being a kid and playing outside and playing house and dolls and whatever else that we'd make up, and not being on the computer and playing video games. And it's also helped me in my work life and allowed me to succeed there too. So fantastic, I love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Trait number 4 that I really like is my like of being alone. And maybe this sounds kind of weird, and as you may know, autistic people often need to be alone to be able to recharge and just function. So that's definitely obviously why I really like being alone, but why I like being alone is that it allows me to not constantly need to be out doing things and feel like I'm missing out on things, or feel like I need to go be with friends all the time. And I'm not saying like if you want to go be with friends all the time and be out doing stuff all the time, that's not a bad thing, of course. And sometimes I wish I did like to go out a little bit more. Like my sister, she like has to be with friends like 24/7 and talking to them all the time. And again, that's not a bad thing, but for me, because I don't need that, it can allow me to be really productive again in what I'm doing, because I don't feel like, oh, well, I need to go out on this Friday night because like I need to see friends or I need to see a movie or whatever. And it can allow me to be productive on something else, such as fixing the backyard for Easter. I like it too because I never am in a situation where I feel lonely or that I'm missing out on something. And you know, because a lot of people can really struggle with the thought that they're missing out or they're lonely or whatever it may be, is in regards to like their mental health and it hurting their mental health. And for me, it doesn't bother me to be alone and just be in my own presence. So I view that as a positive for sure. Trait number 5 that I really like is my really, really good hearing. Now, this absolutely can be a curse because I can hear things that I don't want to hear, and loud noises really get to me and are really troublesome and bothersome to me, but it also allows me to stay very alert. So like I will hear things that other people do not hear or cannot hear, and it just allows me to stay alert. Like with, is somebody coming down the driveway, is somebody approaching the door, so like safety issues like that for sure. And it just, I don't know, allows me to listen in. No, I'm kidding, I don't snoop on conversations, but you know, if like a child is talking or my grandma or somebody who has a soft-spoken voice, I can listen and not have to be like, what? Which that's okay if you do, because my grandma definitely does that to me. But anyways, I just think it's a neat thing, just to have really supersonic hearing and to be able to like impress people. Like, you heard that? I'm like, yeah, I heard it. Should be a superhero with supersonic hearing. I think that was actually, wasn't that one of the powers in Encanto, I think, was supersonic hearing, actually. Trait number 6. Growing up, I was very much a tomboy, and this is very common amongst females on the spectrum. And why I really like that is because, well, one, I mean, it allowed me to get into the career that I really liked and whatnot, but it allowed me to not like worry about what I looked like or, you know, what fashion designer brands I had, and it just allowed me to just like live like a kid and go play in the dirt and like not give a crap about that kind of stuff. And again, if you're really girly and not tomboyish at all, that's of course not a problem, but I just really liked it because, you know, in middle school especially and high school, you can be so concerned about what you look like and what people think about you, and I was just completely like not concerned about that at all. I was like Ellie from Up, you know, like a handy girl, in cars, in the dirt, building things, you know, whatever, playing football, obviously, whatever I was doing. And it also allowed me to make friendships with guys and boys whom I connect with much more, which is a very common thing, again, for females on the spectrum, to connect better with guys, and allowed me to have less drama, and just, you know, be one of the guys. So I very much loved that I was a tomboy growing up, and I'm still a tomboy today, but it just, I think, helped me not be so much of a mental disaster in middle school and high school. I still was a mental disaster, but if I had also been really concerned with what I looked like and having perfect hair and makeup and everything, it would have made it way worse. And last, and it's not even last because there's so many more autistic traits that I like, but last for this video, trait number 7 that I really like is my good long-term memory. Now, I thought before I was diagnosed autistic that I had a great memory, period. period. But as it turns out, I don't. I have a very good long-term memory, very terrible short-term memory, which I talk about in my very first video I ever made, which I'll link above that you can check out. And it's a funny story when I talk about that and my now fiance. But anyways, just having a really good long-term memory, I love it because I can remember, you know, really fond memories from my childhood, like very, very young childhood. I can remember people from my childhood, and it just, one, allows me to have happy memories. I mean, again, it can be turned around and be negative because I also remember negative things really well, but more often than not, I'm remembering positive, good things from, you know, as young as like 2 years old. And it also allows me to be able to meet somebody, you know, at one point or time in my life and remember them if I ever come across them again. And that always makes somebody feel good. It makes me feel good when somebody remembers me after a long time. So I just think having a great long-term memory is really awesome for those reasons. And, you know, oftentimes it comes with me remembering like the tiniest like detail that maybe is useless, but I still think it's cool and something that I once again wouldn't change. Okay guys, so that is 7 autistic traits that I have that I love having. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Autism Acceptance Month. I'm hopefully gonna get another video out this month, but either way, thank you for all the love and support as always. You guys are awesome. I'm so blessed to have your support. And make sure if you want to check out yours app to check out the link below or use coupon Olivia for 60% off. Okay guys, have an awesome day. See you soon. God bless. Bye.